Many avoidants are workaholics, always putting in the long hours, taking work home with them, and gravitating towards jobs that require a lot of travel time. Always on the road. This city here, that country there. Working, working, working. And this especially applies with dismissive avoidants and also fearful avoidants that lean heavily dismissive. They're often very highly successful people in their career of choice. They often have status, a power position. They often have financial success. Obviously, there's exceptions to this rule. Not all avoidants are successful, but it's very, very common. So why are they so career-driven? Why are they so success-driven? Well, first of all, being a workaholic is a method of avoiding. It helps distract them from the things they don't want to face. And second of all, this is a person that's learned to tie in their self-worth with their career success. That's how they learn to feel good about themselves, is through success. And it all goes back to childhood. This is a person that received consistent childhood emotional neglect, growing up in households where you don't talk about feelings. In other words, they weren't shown unconditional love just for being them. So they grew up to feel like they're defective, not lovable. They personalize that lack of love and nurturing. Parents that don't say things like, "I love you." In addition to that, their feelings were routinely dismissed and rejected, so they learned to not express themselves. Nobody ever showed them how to deal with stress, anxiety, sadness. They learned to just bottle it up, stuff it, and put on a happy face because their emotions were not welcome in their households as children. But when they were given positive praise, it was based off achievement. Their parents or caretakers generally put a heavy emphasis on success, getting good grades, hitting the winning home run, and a lot of pressure to excel in career down the road. So what they learned is their self-worth is dependent upon their career success. They have to be successful to be worth anything. So they go out into their career of choice and they are driven to success to help themselves feel like they are worth something, because deep down below the surface, even though they appear to be confident, cool, calm, and collected, this is actually a very insecure person with a profoundly low self-esteem. But they're trying to make up for it with career success, and they're often very successful because when they get that career success, it helps them feel like they are worth something, at least in that moment. But behind the scenes, their self-esteem is non-existent. That's why they have walls up between themselves and their partner, because they didn't get that love and nurturing in the way that they needed. They feel defective, unlovable, and their biggest fear, especially in the subconscious, is if I lower my walls and I let my partner truly in, they're going to figure out that I'm defective and unlovable. They're going to reject me. They're going to abandon me. I'm not worth anything as I am, and my only worth is tied in to my success in my work. Well, in addition to that, working constantly, traveling constantly, it's a way of avoiding things. It's a distraction. It helps them be distracted from the things that they don't want to face. They don't want to face their emotions. They don't want to process emotions. They don't want to deal with anxiety, sadness, depression, insecurities. They don't want to deal with any of it. So they work, work, work. Their mind is always focused on work, the job at hand. It's a method of avoiding things that they don't want to deal with. And many avoidants gravitate towards addictive behaviors for this reason in general. Success, it gives them a dopamine rush. The addictive behavior in general, and could be other things like alcoholism, it gives them that dopamine rush and is a distracting activity. It helps them distract themselves from whatever it is that they don't want to face. Also, working all the time, it helps create emotional distance between themselves and their partner. Emotional intimacy is unsafe because of that fear about the wall being lowered. They don't want to get exposed as what they perceive themselves to be, as defective and unlovable. So emotional distance feels much safer because they can keep their partner on the other side of the wall and protect themselves as they perceive themselves to be unsafe when they're too close to their partner. Working all the time, it sure is hard to get too close to your partner when you're always at the office, you're always on the road, or you're bringing work home. It helps avoid that emotional intimacy that causes them so much anxiety and it causes them to feel so unsafe. So, it creates emotional distance between themselves and their partner. It helps distract them from things that they don't want to face. And it helps them feel better about themselves because they tie in their self-worth to career success. That is why so many avoidants are workaholics.